joined now by Fabian Bowen. And Fabian, I know this score will make you happy. Right now in the third quarter, Waxahachie has a 24-3 lead over Mansfield. That was a game that, Mansfield, is it Mansfield that's dealing with the sudden loss of a head coach just in the past week or two, or was that Midlothian?
That part I can't remember, but I do know last that I had checked, Mansfield was third in that district, so Waxahachie wins that game, they can move up to that third spot.
Yeah, essentially it's the battle for third because Mansfield was 3-1 with their only loss to Duncanville coming into the night. Waxahachie had already played Duncanville and DeSoto, lost both of those games, but at 2-2, they win that. They could pretty much not necessarily clinch the third spot, but they'd be in really good shape for it at this point. How about the other game? That would be Lovejoy. They're hosting Mesquite Poteet, and right now, oh my goodness, I don't even want to know if I should say this or not. Fabian, why don't you read that, see if I'm reading that correctly.
56-0 Lovejoy.
Goodness gracious, with 5 minutes to go in the first half. How about some other scores coming fast and furious? Here's some scores from last night. South Oak Cliff, you talked about how much they have been outscoring their district opponents. Well, they play in that zone schedule, and the next 2 weeks are going to decide seeding. South Oak Cliff was like, you know what, we'll just finish off the zone with a 56-0 win over Samuel last night. South Oak Cliff, the defending state champs. Once they got into district play, it seemed like they had, set their sails on playoffs as opposed to, in the non-district in terms of easy victories. So that may help them as well, even though they're not undefeated or even just with the one loss like they had a year ago.
Yeah, you talked about that point differential that I brought up. That's now 209-0 against district.
Good.
And on the flip side, Jefferson, who's down 35-0 against Seagoville, they were outscored 163-0 in district play, and this would continue since they're down 35-0 against Seagoville.
That's at halftime. You're right. It's still 35-0 in that game. That's our friends in District 6-5A, so that would be an area round or beyond, depending upon where the seeding is and where you end up in that bracket.
When we return, we're going to take a quick pause, and when we return, we'll shift gears a little bit and talk about some college football. There's another big week in store.
Well, yeah, Nebraska's going to definitely pull off the upset against Michigan.
Without Casey Thompson. Right?
Yeah, it's going to happen.
Okay. Well, when did you switch allegiances from Kansas to Nebraska? Is it just rooting for the lovable losers now or something?
Underdog. You got to go for the underdog.
I guess so, but something tells me that may be just a bit too much for the Cornhuskers to accomplish. We'll talk about that and a whole lot more. Don't go anywhere. It's the halftime show. Pirates 41, Mavericks 27. We're back with more right after this on the SportsGram Network. So, we're back to talk some bigger action besides just the high school playoffs. Playoffs, yeah. We're talking some college football that is going to take place over the weekend. You said that number 3 Michigan should be on upset alert this weekend?
Oh yeah, Nebraska's just going to walk in there and get it done. No, probably not. But that would be interesting if it happened. It'd shake up things a bit.
Indeed, it would. It would. It would basically mean that there's no chance that the Big Ten gets 2 teams into the college football playoff. Right now, that still is a distinct possibility if that's a close enough game and some other results happen. But if that happened, you're probably looking at just the winner of Ohio State, Michigan getting in as long as they win the Big Ten title.
Yeah, I'll quit with that before the Ann Arborites attack me. So.
Well, they've got a long drive to try to find you. So I don't know if they're going to sacrifice gas and resources looking for you too much.
Fourth. 1-2, bases loaded. Tiger on every bag. Everybody's got a good lead. There's the pitch. Struck him out. Get you some, Pirate Nation, right there. Get you some. Tyler Miller. Strikeout of the game right there so far, folks.
It's a good way to come out of that bases loaded situation.
Yes, sir.
Yes, and while we're talking about district a little bit, you got your two top teams is Forney and Corsicana. They're both 3-1. Forney is playing against Red Oak, who's currently 0-5 in district. They beat them 18-1 on Tuesday. Then you also got Corsicana in that battle of I-45 against Ennis. Ennis is 2-1 in district. They lost to Corsicana on Tuesday. Corsicana had a kid, Bryden Hernandez, who nearly got a cycle. He got a single, 2 doubles, and a home run. If he could have turned that one of those doubles into a triple, he would have had a cycle. But they did get the win 8-4, and that's still a very impressive stat line, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
So, but outside of that, you also got Terrell, but they don't have a district opponent this week. They will be taking on Kaufman in non-district play. And then, obviously Crandall here sitting at 3-2 in district, and Lancaster at 0-3 in district.
It'll be interesting to see if they try to squeeze one through or if Dyson has free reign to put one in play. Oh, boy, he put one in play there, folks. He put one in play. Oh! Slam! Grand slam. Grand slam. Dyson Hopkins clears the bases, folks. We talked about the wind and blowing out to left center. He put it right over the 313, Fabian Bowen. Dyson Hopkins with some work right there.
Way to go, Pirates. Way to go, Dyson Hopkins.
Had him a pretty good little night, Tuesday night. Oh, there you go. There you go. That's big.
Home run.
Oh, we talked about it before the game. He said he just needed a little bit of wind, but boy, he just turned on that one right there and put it right over the right field wall. David Cortez, ladies and gentlemen.
With a 2-run homer. That was huge.
Yes, sir. We are full force tonight here at Pirate Field with so much on the line. Well, Fabian, take us around the district a little bit, just kind of help tell the story of why tonight is so crucial for us, and who else is in, who's out, who's been eliminated, and who is still hanging on by the hair of their chinny chin chin.
All right, yeah. So the only team that's officially clinched is Forney. They're 7-3 in district. They got that sweep over Corsicana, so they're officially in. They don't have an opponent this week, district-wise, but they closed the season against Lancaster, who on the flip side has officially been eliminated at 0-8 in district. Outside of that, you got Corsicana, who's coming off of that sweep against Forney. They're 5-3 in district, and they're taking on Terrell, who's 2-6 in district. So Terrell would need a lot to go right for them in order to get into the playoffs. They would have to completely win out and also hope that Lancaster gets a split against Corsicana, and then also that Crandall gets a sweep against Ennis in order to get Terrell into the playoffs. As for Corsicana, if they get a win tonight over Lancaster, I know I said Terrell earlier, but they're playing Lancaster. So if they get a win over Lancaster and Terrell loses to Ennis, in which case Corsicana's clinched a playoff spot. Ennis is taking on Terrell. If they win, they're also in. And Red Oak, we already discussed, they got to win out, and they got to hope that we lose our series against Ennis.
Yeah.
Crandall and Ennis are in a similar scenario. If they both win out, if Crandall wins out, which would include sweeping Ennis, then they are outright district champions. Same for Ennis. If they were to win out, including a sweep over Crandall, they're outright district champions. Otherwise, assuming Crandall takes care of Red Oak here and Ennis takes care of Terrell, and then they meet that final week, if they split, it could be a 4-way tie with 4 9-3 teams.
Getting the designated hitter on deck for the Hawks. There's a shot to the first baseman.
Dyson Hopkins, he tripped up, but he made it back.
And that's
Got
2
it
outs
back
for your
just
Crandall
in
Pirates.
time. Good work by Dyson to not lose it all right there in that
At
moment.
the plate for the
Yeah,
Hawks.
kind of
number
fell on his
16.
knee, but was able to
Keaton.
recover.
Got him swinging right there on the outside fastball.
So was that all strikeouts that inning?
All strikeouts. Struck out the side.
Wow, he's dealing.
Single right there. That's going to push Hopkins to second base. So Crandall's now looking at runners first and second with Adam Hernandez up to bat.
Yeah, Hernandez went with Cortez on deck. Both these guys, good power hitters.
And then Noctegal following that up.
Saw Cortez get a home run a few weeks ago, and we've seen Hernandez hit some over to the wall a few times.
That's going to be outside. You know, one of the things that I've loved about this team is, you know, some of your more labeled power hitters aren't afraid to turn around, square up, and bunt and play some small ball to get guys in.
Like we're seeing right now.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
that was
it's a high
high.
throw.
Pulled him off the bag, but got him back just in time. Good sack bunt there, though, by Hernandez. Push runners to second and third.